Will Levis and the draft board drop that we're seeing. We seen him at going from a top 5 pick to a top 10 pick, and now people are talking about him in like the top 20 picks. I mean, if you watch his film, man, he's just inconsistent is the best word. Not to get real technical for the people that haven't watched Will Levis. He is a quarterback that has all the physical intangibles to be good, but every single time he has gone out to try to prove that he can be that guy, i.e. the Tennessee game, he just doesn't show up. Why he doesn't show up, I absolutely don't know. I'm just kind of, I was like this last year. When we watched the film, I was listening to what everybody else was saying, and then we actually broke down the film, and I was like, my goodness, this guy's like really inconsistent. Very athletic. I mean, Chris Rodriguez to me was still one of the best players. I know they got like that freshman wide receiver that was really good this year. His name's escaping me, but he was really good last year. I don't know, man. It's you have to look at it as a holistic approach. Now, my thing against Will Levis is he comes off, he seems arrogant. And I'm going to get into something what somebody said on Twitter. I don't know if it's actually true or not, but I heard an analyst say this, and I've been preaching the same thing, so we were right on line. Me and him totally agree. Every time that you had the time to prove that you were a good quarterback, you didn't. The Tennessee game, you didn't. Vanderbilt, you should have beat them. Like Fisher said in the comments, 105 against Vanderbilt. You didn't do that. Anthony Richardson, when you guys played against them, looked like the better quarterback. Didn't really show up there and wow anybody. Then you had the Senior Bowl. Didn't show up for the Senior Bowl. I get that he's working out, I guess, now with Jordan Palmer, which, feather in your cap. Anytime I see anybody trying to work out with somebody that has a proven track record of being good, I'm all for it. But is it a little too late with his... And I know the thing that I like about Jordan Palmer a lot too is he goes in and has like a mental switch too for a lot of these players. He's already explained he tries to get them mentally involved in what they're doing outside of the physical attributes, because a lot of these guys already have it, right? So, but didn't show up for the Senior Bowl, didn't show up for his bowl game. Apparently he's bombing interviews. So every single way you're just striking out. What do these people see in him? I kind of don't understand at the end of the day. I'm a little bewildered, I guess, about the appeal of this guy. I mean, on film, you could tell he's physically gifted, but he doesn't put it all together. You can tell, from other people just talking about him that he's not there. The things that he needs to do, he doesn't do it. Social media to do putting mayonnaise in his coffee, eating the banana with the pill on it. Like, the dude's just a weird guy, I guess. But so from what we've been hearing and what we've been seeing and what we've been evaluating, it's really not a surprise to me why he's been dropping down the draft boards like he has. Now, a guy on Twitter by NFL Draft Bites, go check his Twitter out. He had said, apparently Will Levis is bombing interviews. His arrogance, entitlement, plus he's just bizarre. 24 years old, should be far ahead of guys that graduated from high school in the pandemic 25 months ago. Stroud, Richardson, Stroud. I don't know why Stroud showed up twice there in this tweet, but it did. Why didn't he beat out Sean Clifford? Levis could go day 2. How interesting is this? And I've heard the same thing, not only from this, but I heard that he was bombing interviews as well. He is obviously, I agree, franchise, he's obviously hiding something that we're not seeing. What is going on in his brain? I don't get it. So, his combine wasn't all that great, but then people kind of gave me the vibe the other day with his whole pro day of like the whole Zach Wilson thing, like the aura around it. Oh, he can make this crazy downfield throw. He can do this and that. That's great that you can do that in your underwear, man. Like Anthony Richardson, for example, hitting the ceiling of the practice facility. That's great, man. People do that every year. I just don't get why this is such a surprise to some people. So to us, the people that are part of ECG, to the cerebral football watchers, we understand that this is one of those things that when you really take a step back, shouldn't be surprising to a lot of the people out here that are really watching football. The Third Lap Podcast. What's up, man? I believe that's Mal, right? What's up, Mal? How you doing, man? Thank you for coming through. I seen the 4th and John page in here, so I guess it's you and Gail or just you. I don't know what's going on, but appreciate if it's both of you guys. Appreciate both of you guys coming through. What's good, Vic? So, what do you guys think, man? With the whole controversy, now I'll go back to this tweet. You know, bombing interviews. You know, couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. Oh, it's you and Gail. Okay, couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. Didn't show up to the Senior Bowl. Didn't show up to his bowl game. Didn't show up when it matters against Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's both of y'all. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate y'all checking us out. So, yeah, I mean, we've been saying he's overrated for 2 years now. One thing that I always harp on, and I always hang my hat on from just playing and coaching the position itself, is quarterbacks, man. One of the things that I know I still get clamored on, and I mean, it was a hot take, but I still think with Matt Corral floating out there, man, I don't know why people weren't as high on him. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. And Vic, me and you agree with this. Will Rogers, dependent, and we're going to talk about Zach Arnett, but Will Rogers might be this year's like guy like Will Levis, not in the fact that the bad way, but is going to garner a lot of hype, and we're just going to look at people and be like, yeah, we know about Will Levis. We watched that tape last year. We watched a lot of his games this year. So, but quarterbacks is my thing, man. I might be hella wrong about other positions. I always hang my hat on the fact that the last quarterback that I was like ever remotely like wrong about was Cam Newton, and Cam Newton totally shut me up. And I mean, look where he is now. I mean, at the grand scheme of things, but you know, when he was out there and he was in his prime, dude still won an MVP. You know, dude was one of the scariest quarterbacks, and I really can't understand why some people on Twitter were comparing who was a better quarterback, him or Joe Flacco. I mean, like I said the last time, have you ever seen anybody say, oh, man, I'm so scared to play Joe Flacco this week? That ain't happening, brother.